Say cheese.
The Mets met last night, so that forced a game 3, which is playing right now. But the rest of the playoff field is set to go to the division series. Who's going to play the Dodgers next season? Then we also have the NFL. What's going on with these quarterbacks? We have your fix of 6, and we talk about all things sports today. It's Thursday night, baby. You're going to hear this tomorrow. This is Box Scores and Bourbon.
Look at the box scores.
Box Scores
and Bourbon.
We check each other's box scores and scores online.
Baseball, Box Scores.
So football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey.
Box Scores and Bourbon.
Welcome to the 2024 October Fest, that is the MLB playoffs. And I am here. I asked JB to give me my soapbox today so that I can speak to you Yankees as an organization. Yankees fans, get ready for a tough playoff season, but Yankees players and the organization as a whole, I have some words for you. Please, 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 please make sure that you could actually be competitive this year. There is not one reason that I can think of where there is a good challenge in your way between you and making the World Series. Let me remind you on the teams that have been getting in your way recently and how they've been taken care of. The Houston Astros have been eliminated from the playoffs this year. Thank you, Detroit. Detroit, thank you very much. I have to say that for you. They ended the Houston streak of ALCS. So, Yankees, your demise has been the Astros for the last few years. 2015, they eliminated you from the playoffs. 2019, they eliminated you from playoffs in a sweeping fashion. Yes, I know that year was the quote-unquote cheating, not cheating scandal. So I could sit here and say Houston Astros directly cheated the Yankees out of a possible World Series appearance based off of their cheating. But not only the Houston Astros, the Orioles are also no longer in your way, Yankees. The Orioles have also been eliminated from playoff contention. The only teams that are really left for you to worry about is Detroit and Cleveland. Orioles have had your number in that division, and I sat here every week thinking about and talking about how the Orioles and the Yankees were flip-flopping all year long for that division lead, but you locked it up. You did your job, and you locked up the division championship against the Orioles. Now you don't have to worry about them. It has been since 2009 since you last showed up to the World Series. This year, 2024, marks the 14th year that you have not been to the World Series. The last time that you had an extended drought between World Series appearances was from 1978 to 1996. That is 18 years between World Series appearances. At 14 years, if you don't make it, you're starting to push that record. I do not want to be a part of a fan base that keeps resetting the records when it comes to World Series appearances. I get it. There are some teams that have never made the World Series, teams that have never made the Super Bowl. I get that. But for a market like New York, there is no reason that you should be going pretty much my whole lifetime as far as not making the World Series or winning it. I'm not 14 years old. I know JB says I'm way younger than him. But my point being, there is kids that are in high school now that don't know what it is to see the Yankees in the World Series. We cannot have that. Another thing that I want to bring up with you Yankees. Currently, your salary cap sits at $260 million that you are paying to players. Do you know how much the rest of the teams that are left in the playoffs are paying their players? A cumulative total of $169 million. 260 to 169 is a big gap. If you are playing for that type of player and you have that kind of cash, the expectation is the World Series. So I don't want to hear you saying that you can't afford players or that there's some type of cuts that need to be made to be able to keep everybody around. Lastly, 2 points. Lastly, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, my two players that I want to bring up. First off, Aaron Judge is on his way to win his second AL MVP in 3 years. That is great for the Yankees as a whole. You have a legendary player. He has, statistically speaking, he might have the arguably best batting season of all time if you look at some of the stats that he put up this year. But no World Series appearance for Aaron Judge. If you want to sit here and cement a player's legacy with an organization, the description of that player has to be World Series champion. You can't, at least World Series appearances, you can't have a legacy cemented by a player and not be able to add on to there that he helped you win a World Series. So for the name of Aaron Judge to be able to mark himself as the legacy that he already is for the franchise, that we know he is, he needs a World Series appearance. And Juan Soto, you got Juan Soto on a loaner. You borrowed him for a year, knowing that you had to make a strong push to give him a reason to stay. What better reason do you have to give Juan Soto than giving him a World Series championship with your organization? So if you want to keep Juan Soto, the best argument that you can give him is, hey, we're winning World Series with you and Aaron Judge around. Why don't you stick around and win another one? So I'm sitting here, JB, and I'm begging Yankees, do not make any more excuses. Do not find a way to F this up again. And as a Cowboys fan, for those of you that don't know, a Cowboys fan that is also a Yankees fan, yes, I know I am a mainstream fan of all the franchises that everybody tends to love. And JB's sitting here and booing me as I say who I'm a fan of. But give me something as a loyal fan to be able to finally cheer for. I take all the heat in the NFL world for being a Cowboys fan, and I take all the heat for being a Yankees fan. But give me something that gives me a reason to be able to stand my ground and say, well, at least the teams that I'm going for, as much as you hate them, are being competitive. JB, this World Series or this playoffs is making me nervous. My skyrocketed the last 2 days.
I'm gonna get into my thoughts on these past series, and then my thoughts on what's gonna happen going forward. But first, let's cheers ourselves in.
Cheers.
Good man. Cheers.
Is
Clink.
it a kind of day?
It's coffee because I'm going out to dinner with the in-laws and the wife and two of the boys after this, so can't be getting liquored up beforehand.
Way to ruin the fun.
Can't be getting liquored up. Sorry to disappoint you, folks. One day we're going to come up with a name. We're going to have a vote for the name of what the fans of Box Scores and Bourbon, what their collective name is.
Oh, yes.
But you have every right to not be concerned, but to act like a Baltimore Oriole fan who just doesn't show up at Camden Yards during the playoffs because you're like, I know it's been a while, but the last time we were here, nothing happened. So why bother? As a Yankee fan, yeah, you can have that same sentiment because it's worse being a Yankee because the organization as a whole. I mean, this is a team since OG Steinbrenner bought it. This is a team that has done nothing but pour money into the organization to be able to buy championships. I know people hate hearing that word. That's exactly what they did. They bought championships. And why wouldn't you? You have the money. Go buy a toy. I'm told by reliable sources, men in their midlife crisis go buy fancy cars. Okay. George Steinbrenner was in his old man crisis. He went and bought World Series championships. Big deal. Who cares? The Yankees should be doing this. The Yankees have the players now. The Yankees have the greatest player on the planet. Yes, I say greatest player on the planet in Juan Soto. They have him. They have the greatest player on the planet right now. When it comes to age, when it comes to talent level, when it comes to everything, he is, in my eyes, the best player in the game. So they have they have Soto, but they have him on a loaner, and they have being able to have him on as a rental, so to speak. You want to be able to capitalize on this. You want to be
Right.
able to capitalize on that because one, a franchise for your fans, for the clubhouse, but also wouldn't you want Juan Soto to think, hey, if I'm going to get more money than Shohei Ohtani, where's the best place for me to get that money? It's probably the same place I'm at now. Oh, and wait a second. Didn't we just win a World Series here? Didn't I just win my second World Series in my career? If they win, this would be Soto's second World Series championship because he won one inexplicably with the Nationals. So, I mean, that happened. So, but and you don't want to be the Yankees, be like, oh, yeah, remember when the Nationals won one with Soto and we didn't? Okay. So, yeah, but if you're a Yankee fan, you want this to happen. And if you're a Yankee fan too, and and you are thanking the baseball gods, you are on bended knee thanking Joe Morgan and such up there in heaven, baseball heaven, that the Orioles lost to the Royals.
Yes.
Manny, you were right. You said it right at the top. Like the Orioles owned the Yankees in the regular season, and you also mentioned the Astros, who have owned the Yankees in the postseason.
Mhm.
So it's the Red Sea has been divided.
Yeah.
It has been divided. You can walk on dry land now. Okay, let Aaron Moses Judge walk you through on dry land as he holds the Soto scepter, and then you guys can go on your way and win this ring.
My thing is just make it. Do not. I don't want to be here and say Detroit knocked the Yankees out of the making it to the World Series or the conference series.
Yeah.
Detroit breaking first off. Congratulations to Detroit for finally breaking their playoff appearance drought. That's great, and then knocking out the Astros on their way through their first appearance. I mean, kudos to them, but selfishly, I do not want to be a Yankees fan sitting here saying Detroit went through the Yankees to get to the World Series. That would
Yeah.
be
Mm-hmm.
miserable. Miserable.
Yeah.
I already heard it in the NFL world. I don't want to hear it with the baseball world as well.
Yeah. It's and you know what? You're not going to hear Detroit taking out the Yankees. You're not going to hear that because it's going to be the Indians taking out the Yankees on the way to the World Series. And so this this is going to be the classic 90s ALCS all over again. Cleveland and the Yankees, like every year. That's what it was from '95 on. It was Cleveland and New York. That was the ALCS,
Mhm.
and so this is going to be no different. It's going to be a throwback year. I would love the Yankees to win this, but I see Cleveland taking down Detroit. I see the Yankees taking down the Royals. Obviously, now this Yankees Royals series is going to be fun
Yeah.
because we
And
still get
I'm
to
looking
see.
past the Royals, and I shouldn't be because they have to win that
Yeah.
series first to get to the other
Mhm.
side, of course.
Yeah, and if they win this series, then that's going to speak well. How the Yankees win this series against Kansas City, how they win it. It's not just if, it's how they win it.
Right.
Will go a long way in telling how the Yankees are going to handle either Cleveland or Detroit.
Yeah.
Now, I already think Cleveland's going to get to the World Series. I personally think Cleveland's going to win it this year. I'm looking at the teams across the board. I feel like Cleveland is just that team of destiny this year. I feel like the way that they played, the way they came back throughout the second half of September, every single game, they kept winning. They kept finding ways to win whilst the Royals were losing and Detroit was surging. And the Twins just colossal collapse.
Yeah.
But because the Cleveland kept winning, I mean, Cleveland is a team. The one edge that New York has on the rest of these teams in the playoffs is power.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe any other team in the AL between Kansas City, New York, Cleveland, and Detroit has nearly as much power and power potential than New York does. So anytime the game was in hand, and they're down a couple runs, the Yankees are your team that you're counting on to change the game with one swat of the bat. That's
Yeah.
it. Just one
Yeah.
swat, game's tied, they're winning, game's over, whatever. And so they have that going for them. What I would like to see the Yankees do is the Royals kind of play a little bit like the Orioles do in the fact that they're very pesky, but there's not as much talent level on Kansas City. So, but Baltimore's very pesky. Kansas City's very pesky. They both faltered at the end of the season. Both Baltimore and Kansas City did. Kansas City plays a little bit like Baltimore does, but just not with not as much, positional star power. Now they got Bobby Witt, who's the greatest future phenom on the planet that we have in here. And I say greatest future phenom, and we still Juan Soto's still only 25, but Soto's been doing this since he was 11. So he's been doing this for a while. So, but I'm excited to see how Bobby Witt Jr. does against the Yankees. I'm excited to see how Cleveland and Detroit do. I think that series might go tit for tat for maybe 6. That might be a 5-game series, a whole 5-game series. That might go all 5, just because of just how well they know each other and just how well that both of those teams have played. They've played comeback kid throughout the second half of this season, especially in September. Detroit and Cleveland especially. So that might be a whole 5-game series. But I'm very excited to see this on the National League side. I want to know your thoughts. Okay, so the Dodgers are going to play the Padres. It's a 5-game series, okay? We saw the Padres and Dodgers play at the end of the season. We saw the trouble San Diego gave LA. Do you think this is another year where the Dodgers are one and done?
So my hate for them makes me say yes, but rationally speaking, I don't see a reason why the Dodgers should be in a position for that to happen to them. But then watching the Padres in their series against Atlanta, they really looked really good. They looked like no matter what position they were going to be in, they had the power, they had the base hitting, whatever it took to score runs, and they had the adversity. They even in game they came through adversity to still find a way to win the game. Especially the perfect example of that was Machado striking out with bases loaded. I think it was the bottom of the first inning that he did that, and then they loaded the bases again, and he clutched up and pretty much cleared the bases with it. I think he got a double off of it. So even in the game, something like that, if you mess up a bases loaded at bat, that can really rattle a player. But they stuck through it, and then they came out victorious on the other side. So it worries. It doesn't worry me because I'm not really invested into either one of those teams. But as a Dodgers fans, they should be worried that the Padres have figured them out regularly, and that the Padres are kind of clicking in a very strong way. If I had to say something, I do feel like the Dodgers will come out on top of it. Everything that I've seen so far from the Dodgers tells me they have what it takes to at least beat the Padres. But they finished the year. The Padres, I believe, the last series, the Padres either swept them or won the series. But they finished losing to the Padres a few times to end the year. So they should be concerned. But I really do deep down feel like the Dodgers really have something going.
I see the biggest obstacle to the Dodgers actually getting to the World Series this year is going to be San Diego. What San Diego has to offer, that's going to be their biggest kind of just hurdle to cross is going to be San Diego, and it's because San Diego has played a style of ball this year that is not reminiscent of how they played ball in years past. And now, look, I got it. San Diego took care of business against Atlanta. Atlanta, of course, was without Chris Sale. And I don't know if you saw that. It was floating around the internet spaces. There was a guy who put $20 down for Chris Sale to be the strikeout king in Major League Baseball to make $2.2 million. He was 3 behind Tariq Skubal. And on that last start of the regular season, that doubleheader on Monday, Chris Sale was scratched.
Ooh.
So if Chris Sale plays that game, that dude wins $2.2 million. Now he's out, and then he was off the wild card roster for Atlanta. That didn't bode well for Atlanta, and San Diego thankfully took care of business. They had that 5-run second inning yesterday, and they didn't score anything else. Atlanta kind of crept. It's a 5-4 game. They took care of business. Good on them. For LA, it's a tale as old as time, Manny. It's the starting pitching. It's who is going to start for these Dodgers, and you have the only two starters that are lined up are Jack Flaherty, game 1, Yamamoto, game 2. That's it. And now, and I think that is the correct way that you open up your rotation if you're the LA Dodgers, because you don't because of Yamamoto being so new to the game. You don't want to put all the pressure on him to be able to come through in game 1. Jack Flaherty, this is like a rebirth year for him. He came up as this high prospect. I believe he was with St. Louis, and then he faltered. He was floating around the MLB, atmosphere. Found his way with Detroit. Did so well. Got traded to the Dodgers, which is so odd. Like the Dodgers trading away a guy like Jack Flaherty, and they still make the playoffs. They're going to the divisional round against the Indians, which, I mean, now I can sit there and say they could probably use Jack Flaherty again. But if you're the Dodgers, you want to start Flaherty and you want to follow Yamamoto. I don't know who you follow that up with. I don't know if you just – because it's a 5-game series. So I don't know if you're the Dodgers, you go bullpen day, game 3, with just enough time for Flaherty to kind of be loose, to be fresh enough again to go pitch game 4. That's kind of how I would handle it. Because you're hoping both of these guys go deep.
If they're at 2-0 against the Padres, that would be the ideal way. But if they drop one of the first 2, I don't see that making sense for them at all.
Yeah,
putting themselves in for the entire series.
Yeah. No, and so, but the biggest wild card in this series, I think, is going to be there's 2 wild cards. One is Shohei still going to be the Shohei of the regular season. The season starts over now. The stats in the regular season don't matter. They don't matter. So is Shohei still going to show up? And is Jackson Merrill going to continue to do what he did in regular season? He's shown us he did it in the wild card series. He was everywhere, offense and defense. He was driving runs. He was saving runs. He was all over the map. So we've already seen Jackson Merrill continue that. He has not slowed down one iota. That's good. Machado seems to have really found another gear this season. And so he's really stepped up to be that leader in the clubhouse for them. Tatis is kind of waking up from his slumber, finally being someone of relevance for this squad over a long period of time. Well, as it regards to the second half of this season in the playoffs. But that's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Do I think the Dodgers win this series? Yes. I think the Dodgers win this series. I think they win it in 4 games. I think it's going to be a really very closely contested series. I don't think it's one team's going to run away with it or the other. I think the Dodgers win this series, and I think the San Diego is going to be their biggest hurdle.
Yeah,
it's going to be their biggest hurdle in the playoffs.
Yeah, if they can get past the Padres, they should cruise to the World Series. Honestly speaking, they should be able to cruise. Even if they drop 1 game to the Padres and still win that series, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't lose anything but one more game at all. They should be that clear of a path for the Dodgers once the Padres are out of the way.
Yeah. And the Philly series, we don't know who's gonna play the Phillies. I mean, it's 0-0, bottom 2 with a runner on second, nobody outs, and Milwaukee up to bat. We don't know who's going to play Milwaukee. I mean, who's going to play Philly. I'd like it to not be Milwaukee, being a Cubs fan. I'd like all the fans at Wrigley North to just be hanging their heads tonight, all destitute, and thinking, man, with the 11 out of the last 13 playoff games we've lost. This is not good. But of course, you're playing the Mets, who met it last night. They were up 3-1, and then they let a rookie, one of the Jackson three, hit 2 jacks yesterday, and Milwaukee ended up winning that game. I still think the Mets are going to win this series. I think the Mets end up playing the Phillies. Huh?
I was going to ask you that. Like, I know your hatred for the Brewers kind of
Yeah.
blinds you a little bit, but I was going to ask you who you honestly feel.
No, like the way the Mets have played, they've played a little bit different. Carlos Mendoza has done something with this Mets team and just the Mets culture in general, where he has really allowed these players to believe that they can do it. Even when you go back to game 1 of the doubleheader on Monday, when they score 6 runs in the 8th inning, and that's what puts them on top. That pretty much seals their fate to get into the postseason. It is remarkable, and what Carlos Mendoza has done. And let's not forget, the guy that constructed this team, David Stearns, was the guy that was constructing all of those Brewer teams from years past. Mm-hmm. And now David Stearns has money. And David Stearns has gone out there and he's like, okay, well, let's try to build this team. Now, the Mets are still the Mets. They can still blow this. They can still blow this monumentally. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee won. I would be more surprised if the Mets lost.
Right.
This series. And so let's play a game called who's it going to be? If it's the Phillies and the Brewers, who wins that series?
The Phillies. We've been on the Phillies train pretty much since All-Star break. We've seen what the Phillies have been doing. There's no reason for them to really lose against either team. Honestly. Yeah, the Phillies.
Phillies and Mets.
Phillies. Either one. Phillies, they have a match for either one.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of see if it's the Phillies and Brewers, I see the Phillies winning. If it's the Phillies and Mets, I still see the Phillies winning.
Yeah.
But I see that series being a lot harder for Philly to come away with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't sit here and believe in what the Brewers really did all year, and especially in that division, it wasn't. No offense, it wasn't
hard. It wasn't hard.
Competitive division at all.
Yeah.
I think they ended up being the first team to lock up their division once we were in September. I know it was by like a day or a couple games or something like that, but I believe
the Brewers were the first one to lock up their division. Yeah. Yeah.
So that goes to show how non-competitive that really series was, or that division was. And so there's no. I hate to bash on team. They're in the playoffs and anything can happen. I get that, but it is hard for me to sit here and say I see something in the Brewers that can get far at all.
Yeah. So let's recap. So I believe we're in agreement here. We have the Yankees and Cleveland making it to the ALCS, and Philly and the Dodgers making it to the NLCS.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say Cleveland and the Yankees are in the ALCS. Using your head, who's winning that series?
Let me catch my breath. You're saying use your head, and I'm working on doing that part, disassociating this part, the heart part, with the head part. It hurts me to say, and I would love to be wrong, but Cleveland at no point during the regular season fell off. The Yankees hit a slump, so it shows that they're vulnerable to slumps. Cleveland didn't really have that. So I really think if it came down to that matchup, Cleveland would get the best of the Yankees. And I could possibly sit here and say probably in 5 games.
Okay. Yeah, I can I'm with you on that one. I think that would be a close series. I don't think Cleveland will win it in 5 games. I think maybe 6 maybe 6 games they win that.
Oh shoot, yes.
Because it's a
I was
7-game
I
series.
was I
Yeah,
was stuck on the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. No, I didn't mean 5.
So okay,
6 games,
all
7
right,
games. Oh, I
okay,
meant a winner take all. So 7. I was still stuck
okay.
on the division series formatting. Yeah, 7 games.
Yeah,
7 games is what I would.
7 games. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that series ends any sooner than 6 games if
No,
it's the two of them. I also have Cleveland winning that series.
it breaks my heart.
Um,
How dare you, JB?
hey, I told you to use your head. It should break your head. And then Dodgers Phillies. Who wins that series? How long?
I as much I keep saying it. I've said it last episode. I said it a few episodes ago. The Dodgers have to get it done this year, and I do think, as much as I hate them, I do think they can get it done. So if they
Yeah.
like, again, reiterating, if they get through the Padres, they should easily get to the
Yeah.
World Series. I'm willing to say in 5.
Okay. All right. Wow, 5 games. Wow. Okay. Um, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know why I acted
I
so
was gonna say.
dumbfounded by that. Whoa, 5 games. Oh, sir,
No,
calm
that makes
down. No,
sense.
yeah. I'm a lady up here. No. Yeah, I can see 5 games. I can see that. I'm with you. This is if the Dodgers were ever going to come close to winning it. There's my son again. If the
Children
Dodgers
keep
were ever going to win it again, in a real season, it is this would have to be the year. I also have LA making it to the World Series. I have LA making it and playing Cleveland. Now, here's where the fun begins. If it's the Dodgers and Cleveland, who's winning that series?
Ooh. So I would have to say if the Dodgers make the World Series is because they finally figured it out.
Mhm.
And if they make the World Series in the way that I'm saying they would have
Yeah,
figured out a really good rotation for their pitching. So I would have to
yeah,
lean to the Dodgers winning it.
yeah. Oh, so you have the Dodgers winning it?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I have Cleveland. I think if Cleveland can make it through New York, and again, folks, this is all hypothetical because we haven't even started the divisional series yet. That won't
Yeah,
even start till Saturday.
right.
So, but based on just our mind's eye, and it seems that we've been in agreement all the way up until this point, I see Cleveland winning this series because I believe Cleveland's got deeper pitching, and if Cleveland can handle the Yankees lineup,
Hmm.
they have a really good shot at handling the Dodger lineup.
They're very
Now
similar.
the one wild card in all of this, and we have not brought this up this episode. We touched on it last episode. The one wild card is Shohei going to pitch in the postseason? Is Dave Roberts going to put Shohei on the mound? You laugh, and it's funny to think about, but it is a possibility.
It is. I know it is,
He
but
tore his UCL last August.
yeah.
It is now October, and he's been having bullpen sessions. He's been throwing on the side before games lately. And, of course, Dave Roberts and his staff they're not going to sit there and say, he's been doing this, he's throwing this hard, this stuff looks good. He's not going to say all that. I don't know why Dave Roberts sounds like Obama. But we're not going to know the extent of his health and his elbow. But if Shohei pitches, let's say this. Let's say the Dodgers get past San Diego, okay?
Hmm.
They get to the NLCS. I honestly think this is going to be a Kyle Schwarber situation. Kyle Schwarber injures his ankle, game 2 of the 2016 regular season. He comes back in the World Series and he just DHs the whole time, right?
Hmm.
And one would argue he was a pretty big difference maker.
Hmm.
Let's say LA gets all the way to the World Series. Shohei has only DH'd. I can almost guarantee you he pitches.
I don't see it. You know why?
I can see it happening.
Here is why
And
I don't.
maybe not as a starter, as a closer. Shohei
No,
comes in as a closer.
if it's not a close, no, not. I'm not even gonna go that path. I was gonna say if it's not a close game and they're trying to just wrap it up for like the symbolism of his return because they know they're about to win the World Series, maybe they don't put him in as a closer. I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna consider that for a second. I honestly think because they would have gotten there without him pitching, their mindset would be, well, why mess up a good thing that we have going right now when we don't need him right now? We want him to
Because
bat
they've
batting.
go ahead.
No, I'm just that's the end of my thought. If he's batting great and they've got it in there, why would they push something that they don't need at that point?
And my response to that would be because they've had the good thing going before and they've let it go to waste in the playoffs because they had no pitching.
Right.
I can't. Let me frame it this way: is your probability of Shohei pitching in the postseason, is it more or less than 5% chance?
Less.
Less.
Yes, less than
I rounded up. I was like, oh, let me make this hard on him.
no.
Less.
Yes, no,
Wow.
I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I just don't. I don't see why they would push that card out on the table. Just let him be what he's doing so great at this year. He's gonna win the MVP again this year. I would hope.
Well, yeah.
Let
I
him
mean,
be.
no one else deserves it in the National League. But yeah,
I'm just.
I
I've seen weird things happen with awards before, so I'm just saying he should. But he's doing it as a DH. Let him be what he's doing great on. Don't add an additional worry onto him because then you're taking into consideration if you're going to make him a dual player. Is one side going to be affected? Is his batting going to be a little bit more effective because now he's having to incorporate the routine of pitching too? I just don't see it happening. I don't think they're going to push that.
all right. I see it as a 15 or 20% chance that he pitches in the postseason.
That is
I'm gonna say there's a 1 in 5 shot that he pitches in the postseason at some point. At some point, it may not. It may not wait until the World Series. It may be maybe sooner than that. It may be the Dodgers like we're on the brink here. We need some firepower on the mound.
if
And
there's
they throw him out there.
if I'll give it like a 2%, 1% being the ceremonial thing that I said. If they're just like gonna do a closer and be like, you know what, Shohei, you carried us this far. Like, let give the people what they know they're gonna get for the next whatever how many years he's with the Dodgers. That's one. The other percent is if they're scrapping and clawing the way into to the World Series and through the World Series, and they're like losing pitching. Their pitching is rotation is going to crap, and they're just struggling to find something. So they're going to be scrambling for a pitcher, and then maybe then, but that's like a 1% chance total.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
it.
So, but you have LA winning it all. I have Cleveland winning it all.
But here's my my closing remark on this. Your favorite man-child is probably salivating at the thought of having a Dodgers New York Yankees World Series. And I can't imagine a better season than having a Dodgers Yankees World Series. I know what I said, and I chose Cleveland to beat the Yankees in that situation, but my heart tells me there's still a chance that they could get there.
There is.
So my closing remark is nothing would wrap up such a roller coaster of this season than having a Yankees Dodgers World Series. That'd be great. I think we both agree that would be great.
Yeah. I want to end on one thing. I think it would be awesome if the Mets did win it this year. Considering the White Sox just broke the record for most losses in a season.
Yeah.
How great would it be? Because for 62 years, 63 years, that was the they lost 120 games that year, but they were like the original like lovable losers. Like that's who they were. Like there was so much to love about them. And how great would it be that yes, the White Sox took that record. I mean, if you want to call it, hey, we set a record, great, run with it, have that. The White Sox having that, and then the same year the White Sox take that away from the Mets, like, hey, we have it now. The Mets overshadowed that, and hey, look, we won the World Series. So now people are going to remember this as the year the Mets won the World Series. I think that would be pretty sweet. I think that just poetic justice in baseball. Just having, just that symmetry, that beautiful symmetry that only baseball can bring. Being able to have that and have the Mets win it, I think that would be pretty sweet.
It would be, and it would almost like symbolize such a weight off the Mets' shoulder that was like a stain in their franchise. And once that stain is gone, you know what? Here come the Mets. But
and how about the Mets beat the Yankees, and Soto's like, hey, I'm just gonna go across town and play for the Mets.
Can you call me an 14 years? Quick? They look better.
All right, let's move on to the NFL. Let's talk about some. Actually, before we get there, let's talk about there was a game that happened Saturday night. Blah blah blah. Someone blew it again against a different head coach. Same team.
Nick Saban was still dominant. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Nick Saban's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. Give me your thoughts on that game. Give me your thoughts on that game because we both watched it.
We did. My thoughts are, for some reason, no matter how good a team is, you could be the greatest team ever. There's always like a matchup that you don't match up well with. And for some reason, Alabama it's always been that matchup for Georgia.
Yeah.
No matter the dominance that Georgia has, they just can't figure out Alabama. And I don't get why, but it happens regularly. I mean, in the NFL, it happened with the Patriots being dominant, and for some reason, they just didn't match up well with the Giants, and they lost a Super Bowl twice to them. That is the Georgia-Alabama really storyline that we have right now. I don't necessarily have an explanation for it besides just the fact that you just match up really well with a good team. You might be the worst team in the team, but you sometimes just match up really well. But I will say this. The quarterback for Georgia looked better. I love that they came back, but it should not have required that type of comeback. It should not have looked like that. He was not looking good. And even when they came back, I can sit here and say the reason they lost the game was because of him. His aim was not there. A pass that he knew what he was doing. It wasn't like a rush pass. He was aiming for the receiver in the corner, and he had room behind the end zone.
Yeah,
missed his spot and threw away the game.
He missed it twice.
He did
twice in 3 plays. He missed it twice. The same exact play, and I know exactly what you're talking about because I saw it the first time. I'm like, okay, that was just a really bad throw. The second time they did it, it was online, but he followed the receiver the entire time.
Yeah,
I forgot who I forgot who the DB was for Alabama, but he saw it the whole time.
Yeah,
nothing. Carson Beck's eyes didn't move. They were locked in on him the entire time, and I'm like, well, of course. This was the second time he did it in 3 plays. Your eyes didn't move the second time. Like you knew that's where you wanted to go.
And the concern is that both times he underthrew the ball. One time it was just uncatchable. I think he threw it out of bounds right before the end before the goal line. So
it was like a 2-yard line. Yeah.
Yeah, he still underthrew it the second time. And the receiver was in the exact same spot. And he just had to drop it into the corner. I'm not saying I can do it. I'm sure that's a hard spot to hit.
But you're not the starter for Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not the starter for Georgia.
You weren't. Kirby Smart didn't go to you and said, "Hey, I believe you can do this." All right, I offered my services. I said I might be able to do it. He said no, but it
it just blows my mind that we can say, JB, you and I have sat here many a times, and we blame coaching regularly. And
Mhm.
Kirby Smart has a lot to blame. But when it comes like that and a QB, you can see it the entire game that your team
Mhm.
is coming back despite what the QB
Yeah.
is doing. That falls on the QB.
Yeah. No, that first half was so abysmal. It was so hard to watch. Like you can't,
It was.
it was. And I know Georgia's defense has lost a ton of talent over the last 2 years. A ton of talent has departed from that side of the ball. But if you're, I mean, this is still Georgia. You
Mm-hmm.
have Kirby Smart has proven that this team is still the cream of the crop, and there's not much that can beat them except themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They beat themselves in that game. And look, all credit to Ryan Williams. That dude is a freak. That dude's a
Oh,
Doogie Howser of football.
oh my
Okay,
God.
he is. I mean, he's like young Sheldon out there, but with hands, and he is
Yeah.
just running circles around these dudes. I mean, these are men compared to him, and
Mm-hmm.
he is what he weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. That 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 catch, that touchdown catch he made, and calling it a
Ooh, on the
touchdown
right
catch
sideline.
is one of the greatest understatements ever, because that was so acrobatic. That was as if
Mm-hmm.
like Robin's family was in The Greatest Showman. Great catch. The way he turned around, pirouetted, and then just booked it down the sideline. That
No,
was
don't forget, he caught it. He caught it on a pirouette and then did it
that I
again.
know.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
It was ridiculous. And I'm like, this
Mhm.
kid's 17. He's
Yeah.
17. That's
Yep.
that's insane.
It's
And I'm thinking it's
blowing
unfair.
my mind.
It is unfair. But again, it should never have come down to that. The fact that Georgia got back, the fact that Georgia took a lead in this game is all credit to Kirby Smart prepping his dudes at halftime, saying you're not out of this, you can still win this game. But at that point, it was too late. It was too
Oh, yeah.
late.
No, you're right. Here's my question for you about Williams. Are we ready to consider him Heisman worthy this year
Not this year.
as a 17? No,
I don't know,
I'm not
because
saying
you
he.
still no, I'm not saying he can't win it. I'm not saying he can't. But there is, I don't know, the talent level this year across the board, offense and defense, just seems to
Mhm.
be so great that I think this is going to be one of those years. Like Aaron Judge is going to win the MVP over Bobby Witt because Bobby Witt's going to do it for years past
Mhm.
Aaron Judge. I think this will be one of those years Ryan Williams gets passed up for the sake of someone else, because Ryan Williams might be the next back-to-back Heisman winner. He might be. He just might be. Like he might be the next two-time Heisman winner. So, I don't think he wins it this year because I think there might be some politics in that, but I'm not saying it. But I'm not going to say he won't win it. I'm not going to say
He could get
won't.
votes. The fact that it's voting,
He'll definitely get votes. He'll
for sure.
absolutely get a vote.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he's not one of the last four standing. We can sit here and say he's arguably the best receiver in college right now, or
Yeah.
maybe it's not even an
You can
argument.
say that. Who's the guy for Ohio State? Who's that kid for Ohio State?
Which one?
But they're. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't know who you're referring to.
Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith. They
Okay.
said that like he is even better than Njigba was at Ohio State. Like they say this kid is like, and I personally haven't seen much of his tape yet, but I've heard so much about him that he's definitely somebody
Mhm.
that but he's also a freshman. He's a freshman too. He's not 17, but he's a freshman. But I just think you have Cam Ward out there. You have Ashton Janty, the running back for Boise State, who still puts up numbers. He's not putting up 6 touchdowns a game numbers, but even that's insane. That's obscene. But he's still putting up numbers, and so I think he's got an outside shot winning it from a Group of 5 school. But but to say Ryan Williams win the Heisman, I'm not saying he can't win it or that he won't. I'm just saying it might go to someone else.
Yeah, no, and I'm saying
if Cam Ward keeps playing the way Cam Ward's playing, I see Cam Ward winning it.
okay. No, I'm not sitting here saying he's going to win it. I'm saying Heisman worthy, like legitimate.
He's absolutely Heisman worthy. Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, I don't know. I could see a pathway for him to continue to do what he does if he continues at the same exact level. No dips, no off games. I could see a pathway for him getting there.
Yeah,
for sure. Within the consideration of the Heisman Trophy right now.
Yeah, but let's but all the best to Georgia in 3 weeks when they play Texas. I think if you have this showing against Alabama, that's gonna be tough, especially if like Arch Manning is like that AI. No, Arch Manning's like the Raptor who learns how to open the door. And now that the Raptor can open the door now that the dinosaur knows how to open doors, I don't know. I mean this, and I'm just saying. I mean Georgia has their work cut out for them. They have 2 weeks to prepare. They play Arkansas this Saturday. That should. I mean, if I'm Kirby Smart, I'm saying you come out with your hand flyer, you're scoring 62 on the SEC school. That's happening. We are showing the world we are not scrubs. We are not phonies. But let's but kudos to Kalen DeBoer for winning with Nick Saban's team. Congratulations. Let's move on to the NFL.
Yes.
There are some teams that we want to talk about.
There are. You know what? Let me give you my gripe with this weekend, all right?
Okay, please.
The AFC
Give me a.
The AFC East is making me look like I don't know a damn about football, and it's not even my fault. It is like the Dolphins and the Jets.
You win against them. That is your fault. I told you not to.
Well,
I told you not to.
Here's my thing. The Dolphins and the Jets are sitting here like fighting to see who can be a shittier team this year, and neither one of them wants to freaking steal a win at all. I don't know what's going on with those two teams. I get the Dolphins are injured. The Jets, no excuses. But what are we doing with that division? What are you guys doing with your rosters? JB, I will give you some props because you said Mike McDaniels was on a hot seat this year. I'm about to walk up with the freaking match to light him on fire. Like, what are we doing with that team? Come on.
Yeah.
That's the gripe for the weekend.
Here's my thing. Tua's concussions weren't a secret.
No.
I know he had a career year last year. I get it. He was healthy. I get it. But when you go into the 2024 regular season and you don't have a proper backup, I get I get Huntley did well for Baltimore, but Baltimore's got a defense. Miami does not have a defense. You could throw all the money in the world to Jalen Ramsey. That don't change your defense. So he's one man. Baltimore's got a far superior defense than Miami does. So I get you went out there, you got Tyler Huntley. I get Skylar Thompson did some fun things in 2022. I get it. But when you go into this season and you're, who is it, Mike Greer, is that his name? When you're Mike Greer, Greer's his last name, I can't remember his first name, but when you're the head of football ops and you don't go out there and you don't go get a stable backup quarterback like Andy Dalton or Sam Darnold or hell, even Joe Flacco, like You don't go out there and go get these guys. You're like, Tyler Huntley's going to do it for us. All right, you did this to yourself. That
Yep.
game against Tennessee was so abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I know it was 31-12, and it's like, oh look, Tennessee's on fire. No, that game was more about how Miami just fell apart.
Yep.
Miami is not the same team with Tua, and I have to say it is extremely comical how 15 minutes after Tua has a concussion, they're like, oh, he needs to stop. All Thursday night or Monday night, oh, Tua's got to come back. Tua's got to come back. He's got to lead Miami back. He's got to. Honestly, dude, to make up your mind. Like, you're supposed to be smart. You don't act smart, but then again, you work for ESPN, so you can't be that smart. I mean, other than you fleecing ESPN for money for being just subpar at your jobs. But like Miami, the time is now. The time was 20 minutes after Tua got a concussion and he was going to be out for at least 4 weeks, that you're on the phone with teams and you're saying, who can you get me for such and such? That's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
You should be doing this.
Yep.
But they did not. They did not, and they are paying the price for that.
Mm-hmm.
It is I've never seen a quarterback make Tyreek Hill look bad at his job. Like, I get Tyler Huntley's got a cannon, but to throw it further than Tyreek runs, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
That's insane. And so Miami, I told you Miami was going to Miami. They were going to do it. Mike McDaniel was going to do something to look really stupid. And he already looks dumb because his hair is retarded and his glasses are weird. But this dude, Mike McDaniel, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, the before and after. When he first got there, he looked like a computer nerd with a pocket protector. Now he looks like a guy who just worked all night at the porn studio, and he's like, all right, let's call plays. Let's do this. Let's play football. So I hate that I'm wrong. I don't like seeing people fail at their jobs, but what I saw Monday night was just bad.
No, yeah.
And it's not even like Tennessee had their starting quarterback.
No,
Tennessee.
And that's the point. That is the point I was waiting for you to make. Are you kidding me? You can't beat Tennessee with a backup quarterback?
And who's their backup again? I forgot who it was I was playing.
Rudolph. It's Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. You let Mason Rudolph make you look like a fool.
31 points by Mason Rudolph. That was freaking burned. They probably burned his car every single week that he was a starter for the Steelers until he left town. That's how bad he was with the Steelers. And you can make him look like a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah.
And
honestly, Mason Rudolph was the best of the three that Pittsburgh had last year, but that's not saying much when you start with Kenny Pickett. So, like...
Here's my thing. Here is my thing. And this is the perfect reason why. When are we going to start? And I'm speaking to the entire NFL. When are we going to start taking the backup quarterback position seriously?
Yeah.
It was the perfect weekend to show you that it is a serious position because you
Carolina
just
took it seriously.
never know. You never freaking know. We had 3 different backups have to come into the game. Mm-hmm. And, some of them look good. Joe Flacco, I just don't even know what to say about Joe Flacco. But Joe Flacco came in, dominated. He won them that game single-handedly.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Rudolph,
he did.
Somehow, Rudolph came into the game, won them that game.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that teams are like, oh, we just need a warm butt on the seat. That's not.
Nope.
Not what. You need somebody that is actually adequate. Dolphins. There's teams out there that are rocking some good backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'll be willing to do them. You need to do something about it. But as a whole, NFL, figure out what it takes for you to have a decent quarterback in your bench.
I absolutely
never know when you're going to be.
Yep. No, this is this is crazy. This is why the Chiefs paid handsome money for Chase Daniel to sit behind Mahomes forever.
Yeah.
Because Chase Daniel could get the job done. He's a game manager.
And he
can get the job done.
And he has.
It was like Matt Castle backing up Brady for years. Brady goes out for that whole year. Matt Castle comes in, 13 wins. No problem. No problem. So I think you're right. I mean, it's like who you got as a backup quarterback. It really does pay dividends. And, props to me. I said that the Colts were going to beat the Steelers, and they did.
You did.
The Colts beat the Steelers, which I was very happy to see. I was sad to see AR get hurt in that first drive, but he looked good before he got hurt. So, but we'll see what happens to him. But at least Shane Steichen's got Joe Flacco, and Dave Canales has Andy Dalton to be able to help him look competent in there. And
another great example of the backup being important.
Which I'm like, thank goodness Cincinnati won that game against Carolina. Good Lord. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine Zach Taylor would have been fired. Boom! Right there. If Cincinnati does not beat Carolina. He's gone. Where's Zach Taylor? Did he show up today? I don't know. I don't know where his body is. I have no idea. Yeah. It's definitely not under the shed where we keep the spare helmets. But thank goodness that they won that game. Andy Dalton didn't make it easy on them either. So that was the game.
Up to the end. It was Anyways, so those are our takes for the NFL. Unless you have another bothering. Oh no! Hey, last plug, Cowboys. You won. You did not look good winning.
That was just so bad. I texted you after. I said, I know that was a win, but you cannot feel good as a Cowboys fan.
Nope, not at all. Game. Not one bit.
You made Daniel Jones look like an all-pro.
Yep. I said if you don't go out there and completely destroy the Giants, there's no hope. There's no hope.
Yeah.
That's it. We can end the NFL on that topic.
Yeah.
I need to change the topic before I get more pissed off.
Yeah. Let's just real quick, 30 seconds. What are the Chiefs' chances now to make to three-peat now that Rashee Rice is probably out for the season?
I feel like they're just playing side quests. For those people that didn't watch the replay, Mahomes is the one that took out his receiver, so I feel like he just wants to make his pathway harder on purpose just to say he did it. Hardest fashionable fashion.
This was all me.
Yeah, I need to prove myself.
Patrick Me Holmes. Me.
I mean, it sucks. They had a great receiver. Hollywood Brown is not coming back, so you better hope your rookie receiver stays healthy the entire year because you got nobody else.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's not really putting in much. Doesn't look much effort into the year. So it's gotten hard. It really is. It's looking less likely. I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl this year, but it's just I don't know how competitive they're going to be in the playoffs at this point.
I don't know. They've never had an offensive line. That's never stopped them before. And they've never had receivers. That's never stopped them before. But so we'll see what happens. Travis Kelce finally woke up. He had a decent game this weekend. But I gotta say, the Chargers. I know they only scored 10 points, but they look good. Chargers look good, man. But yeah, let's move on to the fix of 6. Let's do this.
Hang on. Pause.
Yeah, if going back to the Chargers, if you're a Charger fan, you have to love what Jim Harbaugh is doing with this culture. Again, I think they only scored 10 points. They look good. That defense is going to be their calling card for some time. Seeing Justin Herbert kind of clicking that offense and seeing what Jim Harbaugh can do with Justin Herbert is going to be interesting. I do want to say something about the Jets. I honestly, part of me believes that the Jets front office went and got Aaron Rodgers to make it easier to fire Robert Saleh when they knew that the Jets were not going to be were not going to be good. When you're at home and you lose 10-9 to the Bo Nix led Broncos, that's not good. Now I know that Broncos defense is has really been what they've hung their hat on so far this season. And good for them for knowing who they are and playing true to their game. But Robert Saleh he's gonna go. Hey, Manny, you're back.
He should go right now. He should go right now.
He should go. I
I
was telling them that I believe the front office went and got Aaron Rodgers because they knew that the Jets weren't going to do anything, but they wanted an excuse to just fire Robert Saleh. I don't know why Robert Saleh is still there, but he is. It's still a thing. I don't know why, but it's still a thing.
The Chargers look good. Yes, they did look good. Not the Raiders. The Jets need to fire Saleh yesterday, and for the fact that there's starting to be rumors that they're going to trade for Devontae Adams. Are you kidding me? That's not what you need right now. You need a head coach.
Yeah, and I love that the Bills aren't in this conversation because, like I've said all off season, Josh Allen will prove, and he already has proven, he can do well without a star receiver. Let Josh Allen be Josh Allen. Let him run that game. Let him run the offense. Everything at Buffalo will be just fine. Let's go on to the Fix of Six. Let's do this.
JB, you want to take it away?
I will take it away. JB's number 3 Fix of Six. I have screamed for it. I have cried for it. I have spent many sleepless nights praying for this. Major League Baseball has announced, yes, folks, they are bringing back the home and away jerseys for the players in the All-Star game. Not only that, but they're also fixing this stupid thing with the tiny letters on it. Way to go for all the blind people who watch baseball. They don't know who's batting anymore. But the fact that MLB is bringing back the home and away jerseys of the players in the All-Star game is what baseball needs. The All-Star game means nothing now, but being able to bring back some semblance of a city rooting on their player wearing their laundry is good for baseball. It is good. I'm happy it's being brought back. Good for Rob Manfred for actually using his brain for one. JB's Fix of Six, number 2. The Miami Marlins, Peter Bendix specifically, has cleaned house. And I don't mean clean house as in like, hey, he finally dusted the windows. No, they have fired over 70 staffers from this organization. There's a lot of people out there saying, oh my goodness, look at them doing wrong by the team and all this and that. I get it. But what if this, okay? What if what's happening is Peter Bendix saying, you know what? No, we're going to do this the right way. We want to build our team. We're going to hire the manager. The manager is going to hire all of these people. Skip Schumacher's already gone. Skip Schumacher's probably going to be the next manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ollie Marmol's probably going to be out. They're going to eat that contract, I think. Skip Schumacher's going to go to the Cardinals. And then Peter Bendix is going to hire a manager, someone young, someone who's going to be able to come in, hire their whole new staff, and be able to start fresh and to make this team viable and relevant again. But let's not forget, from 97 to 2003, this team won 2 World Series. And both times, they cleaned house when it came to their lineup in their clubhouse. But maybe Peter Bendix knows what he's doing. I'm not saying he does, but being a contrarian here, let's say he does. Let's see if things are going to change in Miami. JB's number 1 Fix of Six. Pete Rose, sadly, has died. At the age of 83, he is gone. And before he left, he wrote a letter apologizing to Rob Manfred 2 years ago. This is floating around in the social spheres. This letter that he wrote, there's a picture of it. It was on his letterhead. Sincerely apologizing for this. Now, while I think it's weird that they would ban a guy for betting for his team, he bet for his team to win, which I think is just extra incentive for the team to win. Either way, he bet. It was illegal. They banned him for life. All of these sports pundits out there defending Pete Rose now and saying they need to let him in the Hall of Fame. Where were you when he was alive? Where were you when he was fighting to come back in? This isn't like a Kurt Schilling thing where Kurt Schilling got banned and Kurt Schilling's like, screw them. I don't want to be in the Hall of Fame anyway. Pete Rose has fought and fought and fought and fought and fought to be back in baseball in the official capacity in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, did they say posthumously be in the Hall of Fame? I think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame regardless. All this character clause crap, when you have wife beaters and actual like legit genuine racists in the Hall of Fame, and you're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, the character clause, my butt, whatever." I'm just waiting for Barry Bonds to die years down the line, and then Stephen A. Smith's avatar saying, "Why don't you let this guy in the Hall of Fame? He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame." And you're not gonna hear a word about it until Barry Bonds is dead. But pundits, just be quiet. You weren't there for Pete Rose when he was alive. Stop pretending to be there for him now. That's JB's 66. Manny, go.
On Manny's fix of 6. Number 3, the Giants have hired Buster Posey as their president of baseball operations, and I am here for it. Hall of Fame catcher. Who else should you trust to lead your baseball organization than a player that knows what it takes to be a champion? Giants, I very rarely find myself giving the Giants compliments on what they do with the organization, but good job on making a good decision for the bettering of your franchise. On Manny's number 2 fix of 6, Caitlin Clark. Woo! Caitlin Clark has won Rookie of the Year. But I am here to talk about the fact that there is people that are petty in the world
One person.
that took
One.
away a great opportunity from Caitlin Clark. Every single person that knows the WNBA knew that Caitlin Clark was going to win the Rookie of the Year. Apparently, one voter decided that they were too good to follow the mainstream, or they were hipster or whatever. They wanted to go against the norm. Caitlin Clark got 66 out of 67 Rookie of the Year votes, and one person voted against her winning it. Are you kidding me? Are we still in the age where we're going to vote against the obvious? Because I can't even sit here and give you a good reason why she shouldn't have gotten a unanimous Rookie of the Year. It stresses me out, but congratulations, Caitlin Clark. I know you don't care that it's 66 compared to 67 votes, but it would be nice to call you the unanimous Rookie of the Year. And number 1 on Manny's fix of 6, Jerry Jones has done it again. Jerry Jones took it upon himself to interrupt football practice. You know, the sport that is actually bringing you the income, the part of the sport that actually makes you win games, practice. You decided to land your helicopter in the middle of your practice field during practice just to prove a point of what? Jerry Jones needs to get out of the way. And now, metaphorically, he was getting in the way as a GM. Now he is physically getting in the way of his team getting better. I am so sick and tired. I can't even tell you with words how sick and tired I am of Jerry Jones treating a great organization as his own personal platform for his wild circus that he has decided to turn it into. Jerry Jones, get over yourself. On that note, that is Manny's fix of 6. And that does it for us. I need
Yes,
to
it
keep that
does.
one short because I'm about to get really upset about. I've been fuming since I saw those news, and it just woosah, JB. I need some woosahs in my life.
Woosah. Yeah. No, yeah, you're right on all accounts. Yeah. Yeah.
JB, was your coffee enjoyable?
It was good. Yeah. It was good. Like I said, I'm gonna go out to eat. I don't need to be liquored up before I go. So
That's fair.
yeah.
Are you a black or are you a creamer coffee? Are you a black coffee kind of?
Black. I'll put like one packet of Truvia in it, but that's it. Yeah.
Not very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But my stick here was good. It was a blackened Maduro. For those who aren't familiar, blackened is the cigar that James Hetfield, lead singer of Metallica, he teamed up with Drew Estates, and they made a cigar. And I got that. It's quite delicious. It's quite
Very
delicious.
good. It
Manny,
looks
how
like
was your
you.
drink?
My drink was once again my least favorite JoJo's chocolate chip flavored whiskey.
JoJo Siwa's chocolate chip oatmeal
That's right.
whiskey.
That's right. I'm almost done with the bottle, but I am not a man to waste alcohol,
Mhm.
especially whiskey. So I will finish this bottle. But
Mhm.
this might be the last episode that I bring it out. But I'm just drinking through it. It's very, very syrupy, as you may have noticed. I was drinking a lot of water as I was drinking it just to clear my
Yeah.
palate of it. But,
Mhm.
it is what it is. We all make mistakes in life. We move on and we enjoy our life either way. So that's what I'm drinking, and that's what I will be finishing up as we wrap up this episode.
Nice. Folks, this ends our episode. Um, important announcement update. The video podcasts are now on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon.
Nice.
So if you have those listening platforms, but you want to watch us JRE style, you can watch us now on these platforms as you're driving. Don't watch us, listen, but as you're at work, as you're on the treadmill, whatever you're doing, where you can watch, where it's legally allowed, go ahead and just focus your eyes. Have that gaze fixed on us as we talk about sports. Hopefully, in a way that most other people are not. But that does it for us this week. Catch us on TikTok and Instagram, BSB Sports 24. I'll continue to be doing more updates as the baseball playoffs go on. It's the only thing I'm watching when Big Brother's not on TV. So just continue to tune in, give us likes, give us comments, and we love hearing from you. And thanks for tuning in, folks.
Happy baseball playoffs, everyone. Cheers.
Happy October.